So this is my Coast Guard pay stub. I blacked out most of my personally identifiable information other than things like my name here. So like my employee ID or my rank or like what unit I'm working at, I've kept all that private. But this is my takeaway basically twice a month. So you're going to have your tax information here, right? So if you're not a Florida resident, you're probably going to have more stuff here because Florida doesn't have income tax. For federal tax filings, I'm single. Then when you get down to here, this is going to be where they actually break down your pay. So your BAH or your basic housing allowance, your BAS, which is basically your food allowance, and then your clothing BMA are all non-taxable. So you don't get taxed on this money. You're only going to get taxed on your basic pay, which is going to be the 1733.25. And that's all going to add up basically to this $2,919.83, which gets basically taken away from for your taxes here, which is broken down in this tax box. So this is going to be your FICA. And then your deductions. This is something I have a little bit more control over, right? So I put 15% of my paycheck into retirement. That's what this is going to be. It goes into the TSP Roth Basic, which is a pre-taxed retirement account. So I'm getting taxed on the money, and then it goes in, versus other retirement accounts where you put the money in and then you're taxed on the money that you made as well. So if you want to actually understand why this is my take home right here, this $2,390.94, you can take this tax amount here and this deductions amount and subtract it from this $2,919.83. It's going to get you this total take home here. And then this box here has like tax information and basically your net pay. So this is again going to be the same as this total, and then this is how much I've taken home after taxes and deductions and things like that for the year to date. So since the beginning of the year. Leave summary, this tells you how much leave you have, how much I'm accumulating, how much I've used. So I used a day during this pay period. And then this is going to be at the end of the month, how much I have. Down here actually breaks down your retirement and your contributions and things like that. If you get like promoted, it's going to tell you got promoted down here. Or if you have like a larger number for some event that happened, like you did a travel claim and they paid you back money, it's going to be noted down here. So if the number is different than what you're used to, it's typically going to be down in here somewhere. Like this blacked out information was like my health insurance, my life insurance policy, excuse me. And that's something that typically isn't there, right? So I got rid of it, and it's got some PPI in it. So, but here, TSP Roth election, I put 15% of my base pay away. So you want to do the math here. It's going to be this number is going to be 15% of everything else. So this is when I said I had more control over how this box is taking away from this number, basically. That's what I was referring to. You can change how much you're contributing. I contribute 15% of my base pay. Special pay is going to be things like sea pay. So if you're on a boat, like a larger boat, like a cutter, you're going to accumulate sea pay. This is how much I'm going to put away. I'm going to put 5% of that sea pay away. I've never been on a cutter, right? And I don't have any underway time. So my sea pay is basically insignificant. So that's why this hasn't been adjusted. Bonus pay is going to be your bonuses for like re-enlistment, or if you're joining and you hadn't gotten a bonus yet, you can adjust that so it all goes into your retirement if if you wanted. Incentive pay, if I understand correctly, is it's very similar to special pay. This is going to be things like separation pay. So if you have a spouse and you're on a boat, you're going to get compensated for being apart from your family. This is just a note about the leave I took up here, where it says end leave balance used. I took a day off from the 31st to the 31st, so I took one day off. Year-to-date automatic 1% agency contribution. So the Coast Guard automatically contributes 1% into your retirement. This is just the year-to-date, so this year, at the time of this pay stub, is the Coast Guard had contributed $216.88. Year-to-date agency matching contribution. So the Coast Guard matches up to 5%. So, in other words, you're choosing to make less money if you don't put at least 5% of your base pay in. The Coast Guard will match that base pay, basically. So this is just the year-to-date of how much they've actually put in. It's going to be that $867.66 towards my retirement. This is how much that 1% automatic contribution contributed to my retirement for this pay period. This is the matching that the Coast Guard did. And then this is my year-to-date contribution when you consider that 15%, right? And I get all of this stuff on top of my other benefits, right? So I get free healthcare and I get tuition assistance. Like the government gives me money so that I can take college classes, assuming I do well enough, right? I have to pay the money back if the grade is worse than a C, but that hasn't really been a problem.